Welcome back to another episode of Lucid Daily. And guys, this market is absolutely crazy, but believe it or not, we actually have some relatively good news. Actually, it's pretty good news. So, we're going to go ahead and talk about a couple of different things as well as a couple of questions that I thought about that I want to talk to you guys about. So, let's go ahead and get started. One of the very first things that I want to look at with you guys is obviously the stock action today. You did see Lucid down about 3.6%, which is unfortunate. And you did see Lucid up almost 0.25% in the afternoon. If you check the SPY was also down slightly today. It wasn't anything spectacular, but nonetheless, Lucid was down. It's very difficult to have a green day in this market. Over the last week, though, Lucid is relatively flat, up almost 1%. The month they're down 15%. It's just been a tough market for almost every single indice except for energy. So that's something interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the good news. So the good news today is that the Saudi Arabian PIF did not sell any of their how many billion shares? It's 1.015 billion shares. So they did not sell a single share, which is actually, I mean, you kind of like from a business standpoint, you kind of understand it because you wouldn't want to sell when the stock market is down like this. But they are holding true. I mean, they could have bailed. The good news is their lockup expiry happened in January. So they could have dumped everything in January when the market was relatively high, but they didn't. So I think the fears of the Saudi Arabian PIF selling out, I think that those fears can be quickly dwindled away. I did hear an interesting argument today that the Saudi Arabian PIF that maybe they will dump their shares a little bit sooner rather than later because they did do a 100,000 card deal with Lucid. So they may like take their money and put it elsewhere, but they still have the backing of Saudi Arabia. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I'm not inferring that that's going to happen. I thought it was an interesting point of view. So they have a 62.7% stake in Lucid, which is a massive stake. I mean, they own more of the company than anybody else does. And to start seeing them have a factory in Saudi Arabia and start seeing them in shipping cars over there, we haven't seen any cars over there, but we have seen some temporary pop-up shops. And I'm really looking forward to the time that Lucid does get their cars actually out there. Like I said, their lockup actually expired in January of 2022. And the fact in January, if we look at the chart here, let me actually pull it up. I mean, if you're looking from Saudi Arabia's perspective, January is right here. So they like if they wanted to sell, like that was the time that they were going to sell. So I think that if they would have sold, that would have been the time. And it's 40% down from where they could have. So I think that they definitely made a conscious decision not to sell. So I think that that's a relatively large catalyst that a lot of people haven't been talking about. So why would Saudi Arabia I was thinking to myself, like, why would Saudi Arabia keep Lucid rather than dump it? And unlike a lot of people in the stock market that are like here to make money, it sounds like Saudi Arabia more than anything it's more ethical than it is actually about the money. Obviously, I think that Saudi Arabia is in it for 10 plus years and they will see a good return on their money. But they have committed to a fully electrifying and having a green economy and just having as much electrification and green energy as possible. They have a term for it, but I forgot the term of it. So I think it's not necessarily about the dollar amount. I think it's more about the ethics and exactly what they're wanting to accomplish in Saudi Arabia. So that was just one of the things that I thought of in terms of why Saudi Arabia would keep Lucid, even if the stock has bled out like 66%, which I mean, these are businessmen, like they want to do what's best. And I think that they are in it for the long run rather than a short, quick, like helping SPAC buy in and then have like, they're down 66%. Actually, I was doing a lot of Google searches, and this is where I need you guys' help. I was trying to research exactly when Saudi Arabia bought Lucid and at what price. Was it pre-SPAC? So like, was it under $10 a share? Was it the pipe sell-off by like $15 a share? Where do you guys think that Saudi Arabia bought Lucid at? Like what share price? I'll be continuing to research that, but I'd just love to hear you guys' input and see if you guys have any answers as well. The next question that I wanted to answer is a lot of people have just been saying that like I'm definitely a proponent of this, but I really do think that we are in a recession. And some people have been seeing it on Twitter and even the comment section. They're like, well, like in a recession, nobody's going to want to buy a Lucid. So let's just get a couple of things clear. In a recession and inflationary environment, you do not have like the upper class, the higher income people are not nearly as affected as the middle to lower class. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. Lucid, their very first step is establishing themselves as a luxury car company, a luxury electric vehicle company. So you don't exactly see middle class salaries going to buy luxury cars. Those things just, they're kind of opposites. They don't necessarily go together. And so, with my first point being that the recession does not affect people in the middle class, the people that are reserved the Lucid already probably are either upper middle class or in the upper class in terms of wealth and salary. I mean, you have people like Steve Wozniak who has a net worth of, actually, let's see, what is Steve Wozniak's net worth? Steve Wozniak net worth 100 million. So you have these people that are obviously extremely well off that are purchasing these cars, and you have a lot of others. And I know that there's people like not quite of this caliber, like in terms of wealth, but I do know that this is a luxury EV company. And the next thing that I thought is really interesting, I remember saying this last year, is Tesla's demand is through the roof. They have over a year long wait for some of their cars. And I think that there's going to be a certain group of people that don't care about what car they get. Like they just want an electric vehicle. And once Lucid gets their factory ramped up, they can start like being that person that's like, hey, we have cars, like we can give them to you. So that'll be something really interesting to see. They are going to have to get that demand up a little bit, but that may be to Lucid's strong suit. They may be able to deliver cars within weeks rather than having to wait like 4 to 6 months to get a Tesla. So that was a couple of things that I was thinking about in terms of like the PIF and how good it is that they actually did not sell their shares and why they won't sell their shares, in my opinion. And then the next thing is, will Lucid survive a recession? And I think that the answer is clearly yes. The recession is not going to last for, worst case scenario, I think it lasts all of 2022. And we know that they have the demand and the cash to go into 2023, towards the end of 2023. So I really don't think that there's need of worry that Lucid will go bankrupt during a recession. And that's not something that I would worry about. I would just, again, the number one thing is just how quickly can Lucid ramp? Like, can we get to those 12 to 14,000 cars this year? Like, that's the biggest thing. So those are a couple of my thoughts that I want to share with you guys. I hope you guys appreciated it. Let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation. What do you think about will Lucid survive in a recession? How many, like, at what price did the Saudi Arabian PIF buy Lucid at? I could not find it. And then how long do you think the Saudi Arabian PIF will hold Lucid shares? And do you think that the contract of having 100,000 cars has any kind of differentiator between holding the shares and backing Lucid in terms of being a customer of their products? That's just something interesting to think about, and I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts. So let me know down in the comments, and if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Like always, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.